What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
It's me. Hi, everybody. I am Love Coach Scott Katamas, and welcome to the Awakening World. We have a really wonderful show. And right off the bat, I want to put on first, we have this wonderful new addition to the Awakening World, which is Desiree, who does a unique form of Desiree sign language, if you will, that raises our consciousness, raises our energy. So I'm going to have her on screen quite often, certainly during Omashar songs. And let me tell you who else is going to be with us. One of our all-time favorite beloveds, Piper Dellums, is here. And Piper is going to share with us not one, not two, not three, but four of her beautiful, wonderful micro short films, each of which is so inspirational. So I'm just delighted to have you back with us, Piper. And coming to us all the way from England, where it is after 2 o'clock in the morning, Amanda Waring is going to bless us with some poetry and some of her wisdom. And speaking of wisdom, Reverend Becky Suzik is with us, who's going to teach us some stuff that we need to know and also share some of her art. Again, tonight is all about honoring art and wisdom. And we have wonderful kirtan with Ashok. Ashok is back. He's been on several times. And then one of my absolute best friends, she is forever family, Katrina Vaillancourt, is with us. And she has a very important book that everyone needs to get. I believe so much in it that I'm buying it for all of my clients, or not all my clients, but many of my clients. So we've got all of that happening. And we've got you. And of course, most of all, we have our beloved brother, Omashar, who is going to start us off with a wonderful musical offering. Now, this first song, you can still get up and dance, but I'm not going to be spotlighting. We're going to keep it on our new dynamic duo of Desiree and Omashar. And Omashar's got something special for this new part of the Awakening World.
Oh yeah, I seem to remember the time when we all were happy, and my family, we all were together, singing harmonies, my sisters and brothers. I often dream that we're gathered together, and we all live in this beautiful garden. And the river with my favorite flowers, and the trees there, I know them by name. If you'd like a new life, here it is, here it is, here it is. If you'd like a true life, here it is, here it is, here it is. We all are born of the great sun. We all are beloved golden ones. Do you remember? You're part of the story. Do you remember that you are the glory? If you'd like a new life, here it is, here it is, here it is. If you'd like a true life, here it is, here it is, here it is.
What a beautiful, beautiful way to start this show. Absolutely beautiful. Desiree, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you, Desiree.
I love that song. There's something so haunting about that particular song.
Yes, it is. And it was one that, as I mentioned before, that it was 100% born in a dream that I had. And I woke up and I thought, who, what? And I quickly wrote it down, and it was all written, the lyrics, the song format, the Indian background. And so I just got up and wrote it down and went back to bed, and then woke up later and thought, wow.
That's cool. Well, here's some comments from our audience. Tiara writes, "Love the drone, Omashar." And of course, I had put in how people can get you music. Amanda,
the drones have been on the news lately, so there it is.
oh, there you go. The drones are everywhere, even inside the Global Peace Tribe Zoom room. Amanda writes, "Heart-opening magic. Thank you." Piper writes, "This takes me into spirit flight." Rename writes, "Unearthly beautiful garden song." And Reverend Becky says, "Yes, I love this dynamic duo." And that's good because, Becky, I'm going to bring you up here to join the dynamic duo for a moment, because Becky is our first presenter tonight, and we love Becky Suzik. She is a reverend. She is all about joy, and she fuels our joy through her joy fuel. You'll recall that Becky was on the show when we had our Erica Kay and all of our friends that we wanted to support the LGBTQ community. That's right. But then Becky pointed out, "Scott, did you know that there's actually more?" And so I realized, well, I certainly need to be educated, and maybe a few of us also need to. So, Desiree, I'm going to keep you on with Becky. But Becky, I'm turning it over to you to share a little bit of wisdom and education with us.
Yes, well, thank you so much for this amazing gathering, for honoring art and music and diversity as you always do, Scott and Omashar and Desiree. That was really amazing. Like, I was tearing up with the things that Omashar was singing. It was really, really powerful, and I need to get that soundtrack because it really is very inspiring. So thank you so much for opening us up with that. Wow. Well, I was so grateful to be on the program a week and a half ago, and to really invite people to consider who don't identify as LGBT folks. And I'm going to share some abbreviations, and we're going to go deep for I have about 10 minutes to share with you all. And this isn't going to answer everything, and I may not get everything right. So if somebody here, if I say something that doesn't resonate, please let me know. And I'll also say that some people may identify with these things that I'm sharing you, and other people who identify as LGBT plus may not. So there is a diversity within the diversity as well. So the most important thing that we can do is to ask people how they like to be referred to and what that means to them, especially if you're developing a friendship with someone and you get in that comfort level where you want to know and you're sharing more about each other's lives. It's a beautiful thing to show that it as an act of allyship, to show that you are open to what their understanding is. And when I became an interfaith minister a couple of years ago, one of my vows was and is to honor people's labels and also to love people beyond the labels, like respect if people say that they have labels that they identify with, and to be love beyond that as well. And one way that we can love people is to affirm people in the labels that they give themselves that make them feel affirmed. And so what I'm going to be sharing is some I started to call it alphabet soup, but there are a lot of letters associated with this because there is a lot of diversity around love. There's a lot of diversity around gender orientation. And I have some notes, so I'm going to pull up my notes. You're not going to see my notes, but let me get them. And I'm going to share with you some of the resources that I used to bring these things together for you all, so that as an act of allyship, you can commit in these coming weeks and months to educating yourself, to going visiting these websites, and particularly in June, which is Pride Month, that we can really amplify and bring forth the things that we're learning and share those in social media. And so a moment ago, I referenced sexual orientation and gender identity as being two different things. And sexual orientation is about who you are attracted to physically, romantically, or emotionally. And it includes identities like lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, asexual, and straight. But it's important to say orientation rather than preference, because it isn't a choice. It's a part of who someone is. People don't need to have had any sexual experience in the context that they know themselves to be in order for them to have their orientation. Now, gender identity is about who you know yourself to be, your inner sense of being male, female, both, neither, or something else. Gender identity may or may not align with the sex that you were given and assigned at birth. People who identify differently than the sex they were assigned may identify as transgender or non-binary. Those are a couple of terms that we'll talk a little bit more about. So gender identity and sexual orientation are different. For example, a transgender woman, someone who identifies as a woman but was assigned male at birth, might be straight, they may be lesbian, they may be bisexual or queer, depending on who she's attracted to. So that's, I know there's a lot of, for some people, this is new information, and I know there's a lot. So I'm going to give my contact info. And again, I'm not an expert on it. I'm just leaning in to do what I can to learn and educate myself. I've actually gone through a training through my church association to work with young people to help them and affirm them in who they understand themselves to be. And so a lot of these things also came from a training that I went through called OWL, which stands for Our Whole Lives. So I'm going to switch my screen, and I'm going to do what we practiced and see if this will come through the way I want it to. So I'm going to share my screen, and you can give me a nod if this looks right to Omashar. Does it look right? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, great. So the alphabet soup, the beauty, the diversity of us, LGBTQAI2S+. What does this mean? So we talked briefly. Lesbian is a woman who is emotionally, romantically, or sexually attracted to other women. The G stands for gay, is a person who is emotionally, romantically, or sexually attracted to people of the same gender. This is often used for men, but also can be used more broadly. B is for bisexual, a person who is attracted to more than one gender. And T is for transgender, a person whose gender identity is different from the sex they were assigned at birth. Q doesn't just mean queer, it can also mean questioning. So queer is an umbrella term for people who don't conform to traditional norms around gender and sexuality. And the Q also can mean questioning, someone who is exploring their gender identity or their sexual orientation. The A is for asexual or allies, another abbreviation here in the beautiful alphabet soup. Asexual is a person who experiences little or no sexual attraction. And then an ally is someone who is cisgendered, who myself, I was born a female, I identify as a female, and I work towards affirming people how they experience themselves to be. I do lots of things to educate myself, including, I brought a book that you can get called The Savvy Ally. And I recommend this book. It's got some really great ideas in here about what allyship looks like. And so that's what an ally is: people who support and advocate for LGBTQIA2S+. Now we get to the I, which is intersex, a person born with physical sex characteristics that don't fit typical definitions of male or female. The 2 or T or 2S stands for two-spirit or twin spirit. And this term is sometimes used by some of our indigenous relatives to describe a person who embodies both masculine and feminine spirits. And my understanding with some of the indigenous that I know is that this is an incredibly sacred cultural identity that is not an interchangeable experience with LGBTQ plus terms. It's very special. And then the plus represents all the other identities that I have not explicitly listed, such as pansexual, demisexual, non-binary, gender fluid, and more. And so I put together a few websites that I trust that I wanted to share for those of us who would like more information. And a lot of the definitions I got came from glaad.org, glad.org. And they have a whole section with media reference guides as well for tips for allies. You have a question, Scott? Oh, I heard something. Sorry, I thought that was you. There's glad.org, there's also PFLAG, and this is the first and largest organization for LGBTQ plus people, their parents, families, and allies. And they also have local chapters that you can find, and you can also get in-person support at the local chapters. Then there is the Human Rights Campaign, hrc.org. They have guides that help people when they recognize who they are, and because our culture is not as accepting as I hope that we shall one day be as we make this beautiful place for the diversity of love, that they have coming out guides and allyship toolkits as well to help people across the spectrum of diversity. And then lastly, some educational resources are also available at the trevorproject.org. And they also have a crisis support service for LGBTQ plus youth, and also have ally guides and training resources. And then specifically for LGBTQ people, those places that I shared before can be used by them as well, but also I wanted to share specific help. As I know that some different national hotlines that were federally funded have been put on hold. And so I wanted to be sure to share these: the Trevor Project, which I already mentioned, Trans Lifeline, the LGBT National Help Center as well at glbthotline.org. And so this is my information. I'm a spiritual and interfaith minister, and if you call me Reverend, I offer you absolute reverence. It's not a title to me. It's the role that I aspire to be with love, and so that's why I have that in front of my name sometimes. And you can email me. You can find me on BlueSky, which is new to me, at Joy Fuel Peace. And then also join the Joy Fuel community, which is my Patreon. You're welcome to join for free, where I send out emails about different things that I do, including sermons and different events that I do to amplify things for Indigenous people, Black people of color, and the diversity of us, and LGBT things. Like, I am so about being part of this new amazing media that Scott is championing, which is media that educates, that heals, that shares people's stories with depth. And so the last thing that I'll share is a little piece of art that I made here. Is, oh, did I stop sharing? Did it stop? Sorry.
That's because I went and I shared your website So that stopped your sharing. Sorry about
No
that.
worries, no worries. Well, the last thing is, because was an art show and tell as well, I just wanted to share a little piece of art that I made a couple of years ago that really captures the way I feel about the work that I'm privileged to be part of. And it's just a little quip that came to me in dream time. Let me choose my way of mind, a path of love, a mind of kind. And so I wanted to leave you all with that, with so much love and so much gratitude. And please let me know if I said anything that I need to polish up better or learn better. I'm open. And that's one of the most important things about being an ally, is that we need to know how to say we're sorry, because we all make mistakes. And I know to do this work, I have to be willing to be wrong, and I have to be willing to step out and to educate people, and also to know that I'm not closed at all, and I'm always learning, and I'm always bringing in new information. So thank you so much, and blessings, love, peace, everyone. May
Don't
peace.
dash off too quickly. Hold on. First off, this was wonderful. And I'm going to actually make an edit of it and put it in our, just because this itself as its own little slice is a really important piece for all of us, maybe to watch a couple times, learn, review. And I also want to ask you to educate us about something else. Tell us a little bit about what is BlueSky?
Well, BlueSky is a network. It's not one world. So I'm not saying we don't leave one world. We stay on one world, but it's another way of connecting with people that is not monetized. So Facebook, many of us realize they are diluting a lot of our content. They're removing videos that we're posting that are years old, and they're monetizing content. So the things that we see, I think they're intended to be divisive, a lot of the things that come into our feeds. And it's really, BlueSky to me is my step forward towards bringing people and content towards me that I feel really good about, as is One World .earth as well. That's a really important network that I know many of us here are on. But BlueSky is where I'm hoping to reach people that I haven't met as well, because it's a new arena. We've got our One World where there's so many like-hearted people there, and it's beautiful. And so BlueSky is another way to connect with people and to share in, I think I'm learning 156 characters. It's like shorter. There's some, there's some things. So yeah, so it's a new place.
I want to close out, and then Desiree, I'm going to give you a break because you've been
Thank
going
you,
for
Desiree.
half an hour practically. But I do want to read some of the comments that have come in. Susan Bloomquist writes, "Thank you for explaining these things and helping us to be able to converse with others." Amanda writes, "Thank you so much for the sharing." Omashar says, "Thank you, Becky. You are polished, articulate, and brilliant." And I agree. Katie is saying thank you. And Dr. Laura says, "Oh my God, I'm still so confused." So that's why I'm going to take a clip, make it its own thing, and I'll send it out to everybody so you can all watch it a few times.
Absolutely. And confusion, acknowledging that is a great place to start. Just learning one thing at a time, and just showing that you have an open heart, that you want to learn about the diversity of humanity here. I think is a really beautiful thing. So confusion is welcome.
Absolutely. I really appreciated that because it is so honest. And that's why I asked Becky to help us out, because it does get confusing. So Becky, I love you so much. And everybody, join Joy Fuel. Please, please, please make sure that you go to her website and join Joy Fuel, because it's a really beautiful website. And what she provides is wonderful. I was one of her first Patreon members, actually. And I always appreciate what you post. It's really quite beautiful. So, thank you very much. And one more time, you'll find that at, well, I'm going to take you to the Patreon page. If you go to, because let's all support her. It's so important for us to support our friends. So it's patreon.com/ and there's a C / Joy Fuel posts is what kind of came up as far as her posts.
Yeah, I think it's because you're a member there that you'll see that. But Joy Fuel, patreon.com/Joy Fuel, and then you'll see these are all your other ones that you support.
I see. I just support too.
Great, but thank you all so much, and thank you for our open-heartedness here. It's such a beautiful unity space that you and Omashar and now Desiree with your beautiful visual movement is so beautiful.
Go to
So
gallery view. Let's all give a big twinkle to Becky and to Desiree. Thank you so much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Love.
All right. Well, I am really excited. That was a great start to the show. The music and Desiree and Becky bringing us so much wisdom. Thank you. And I get to go to another wonderful resource, and it's one of my absolute closest friends in the world. I'm blessed to have many beautiful friends in my life, and Katrina Vaillancourt is absolutely forever family. We have a long history. She co-founded the Love Coach Academy with me. She's very happily married, brilliant. Katrina is one of those people that she's an artist, she's a writer, she's been on for the book that she wrote, and she is a certified NVC facilitator. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, because she has a brand new book out. And for those of you that know me as a love coach, obviously a lot of what I use is what I learned from my time with Marshall Rosenberg, the founder of NVC. Katrina took it even further. She went all the way down and did the marathon job of becoming a full NVC facilitator, which was no small thing. And she is the creator of Love Smart Cards. If any of you out there have Love Smart Cards, please pop in the chat box how you have them and use them. Because over the years, I know many of our people have bought them from her. Yeah, people are already be getting Diara loves your cards. So I'm doing all the talking. Katrina, tell us a little bit about Love Smart Cards and your new book.
All right. Thank you so much, Scott. It's wonderful to be here with you. I'm not sure if I'm pinned because I can't see anyone besides you on the screen. So
you are pinned. You are, yeah. Right now it's just you and me that people see.
Okay. Thank you. And I really want to thank you for your introduction. You are a dear friend of almost 2 full decades right now, and your love, dedication, and devotion to community is like no one else I've ever seen. So I know everybody here on this call has so much appreciation for the way you're showing up several times a week to make these incredible shows and to pull together our global peace tribe. So thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here with you all. And I would love to hear, or rather in the chat, please type yes if you are somebody who would love to reduce conflict and increase love in your life. I'd love to see some yeses flying in the chat.
Pop those yeses in, everybody.
Yeah. And type me in the chat if you wouldn't mind improving the quality of all of your relationships while you set the foundation to create breakthroughs in love. Doing me's. There we go, moi. Wonderful. Certainly, I have come to the right place here. I'm very delighted to be supporting you all in creating those breakthroughs to love. So, I wanted to start out by just sharing a bit more about me. You know, Scott shared a little bit, including that I am very happily married. And Stephen's amazing. I definitely have an amazing husband whom I look forward to being with until our very last breath. But it took a lot of work to get here. Some people say that our gifts often arise from our greatest challenges. And certainly that's what it was for me. The gifts that I have now with the Love Smart Cards and with this book I published. I'll never forget the moment. And this is, wow, 26 years ago. I realized my first marriage was over. I was in my early 20s. I was holding my 1-year-old son, heartbroken and wondering if I would ever risk that kind of love again. I dreamed of being married till death do us part, and raising my son, of course, in a loving and intact family. But in the wake of my failed marriage, I was completely alone. I was drowning in frustration, in self-doubt, and endless conflict with my ex-husband. No matter how hard I tried, our conversations would end up in blame and defensiveness. Usually we couldn't last even 15 minutes. I felt deeply lost, and I was wondering how I could ever co-parent peacefully again, let alone build the kind of life partnership that I really longed for. Over the next 20 years, I dedicated myself to learning everything I could from my past and cultivated the awarenesses and skills that were needed to make sure that that kind of heartbreak would never happen again. This led me to many forms of relational healing, including inner child work, the art of sacred sexuality, positive psychology, and so much more. And everything helped, but nothing gave me the breakthrough that I was longing for. It was in 2006 that I discovered nonviolent communication. At that time, it's also when I met Scott, and he and Lori Grace became my two first teachers of nonviolent communication. And I can say from that moment forward, everything changed in a positive direction. With nonviolent communication, for the first time, I saw a path forward, a way to break free from the old patterns and express myself without triggering more conflict. In that breakthrough, there were a few things I learned that helped me recognize that the way I could make my learning more rapid was to create cards and to use those at home. So I created the Love Smart card system for myself so I could learn nonviolent communication at home whenever I needed to, whenever there was a breakdown. I had a tool and I had a practice I could use to develop the muscle of empathy, of gratitude, of character development, and of conflict resolution. So within 1 year of practicing, my life had shifted quite dramatically. I had multiple breakthroughs with my ex-husband, and our communication became a whole lot easier. We went from these conflicts to being able to look into each other's eyes and say, I love you, and I really want what's best for you and our son. That only works because empathy is powerful. And when you can have somebody hold space for high quality empathy to occur, you go from me versus you to us versus the problem. We have shared needs. So there's a whole teaching. There's so much I wish I could share with you and just like download to all so that you could create these breakthroughs in the relationships that are most important to you. Because it wasn't just my ex-husband. My relationship with my son improved, with my parents, with my siblings, with my friends, my coworkers. When you learn how to apply these communication skills in your most difficult relationships, it flowers and blossoms across the board. Conflict everywhere starts to decrease, and the ability to enjoy love, to live life in a commitment to win-win, and yeah, it's like less stress. What do you want to do? How can we make life more wonderful becomes more of your everyday adventure. So I met Stephen almost 10 years ago now, and we got married in 2021. And these skills have become a foundation for our deep and thriving partnership. And so now I have this blessing of being able to help others break free from painful relationship cycles, cultivating emotional intelligence, and building bridges where there used to be walls. So through private coaching and mediation, I make learning these life-changing skills highly accessible, practical, and deeply supportive so that nobody has to navigate the journey alone. Again, I wish I could share everything with you, but in short, I have really worked to make this as simple as possible. So these are the Love Smart cards. I put a sticker on top of this one because it's a practice set. I see some questions coming in, so I'll get to that in a moment. It's got 4 decks of cards. It's got emotions connected to met needs, to unmet needs. There are universal needs and there are character strengths. And rather than getting into what all that is and why it's important, because I don't have full time to do that here today, I have a book that will explain all of that. So this is the latest book that Scott was talking about. It's a complete guidebook to how to use the Love Smart cards. It gives you an introduction to nonviolent communication. It has every one of the processes that I would practice to learn these skills and more. It will support you in building emotional intelligence and in building really the foundation of all of the primary nonviolent communication skills that you can use in your life. So yeah, and it's got about 60 exercises in it, everything from like a 5-minute quick check-in to a deeper mindfulness training to a deep dive, like some of the difficult questions. How do you set boundaries with compassion? And how do you set a boundary when it's non-negotiable? It's like, I just can't do this anymore. How do you do that? Or how do you deal with resentment when there's a relationship that's important to you, but resentment is building up? Those are more of advanced practices. You want to build a foundation before you do that. However, those practices are in here as well. We've got practices to do with an individual, ways that you can work with a partner, with a group, with kids, all of that guidance is in here. So this is available, and I think Scott has probably put the website in the chat. So that's where you can pick up the book. And it's just full of instructions and images, and anyway, there's a quick look at it. So with the time remaining, I would really love to see what kind of questions might be arising and how I might be of service in the time we have left. I don't know, Scott, if you're tracking questions, but I see one for Dr. Laura. Any recommendations for how to approach communicating with someone who runs and hides at the drop of a feather? Yeah, thank you. So when I think of somebody who's running and hiding at the drop of a feather, it sounds like this person could be highly sensitive and have a profound need for emotional safety and trust. And so I would be looking to explore, what does this person need so that they feel that staying present would be an opportunity that would serve them and their needs in life. What are their sensitivities? How can we attune to those sensitivities so that we're caring about their precious needs? How do we make that conversation safe? That's the first piece that comes to mind. So if there's another layer to that, please do feel free to drop that in the chat. I also wanted to let you know that one of my superpowers is the ability to do mediation, conflict resolution with people who are in political polarization, which seems to be on the rise in these last few years. So I'm working with a few families right now where they've had some kind of political split over the last few years. And so I help them figure out how they navigate that in a way that really honors the love that, is at the root of their relationship. So I'm going to see if I can find other questions in the chat here. Oh, I love, Dr. Laura, you said you can relate to my story. Appreciate that.
I want to read a couple of other comments that came in too. Desiree writes, I keep getting the intuitive message that the Love Smart cards are life-changing for many. They help to remove heart walls and allow more love into your life.
Yes, absolutely.
And Piper writes, I needed this before I left my marriage and left myself after the traumatic experience. And I still need these cards to be able to open to love again without fear to being unable to navigate through a new intimacy. Thank you. I need these cards. And
yeah, I feel you on that one. My first marriage really ended in such a painful way. I went into darkness for several years. I did not have nonviolent communication. And when I discovered nonviolent communication 8 years after my separation from my first husband, and I just remember crying, saying, why didn't I have these tools earlier? I don't know that I could have saved my first marriage. We had some pretty fundamental differences, but we did not have to go through the profound pain, anguish, and conflict that we went through. You really don't have to do that. The challenge is that we're conditioned, doesn't matter where you live. We have conditioning that actually promotes disconnection. It's a lot of unconscious training. So one of the things that Dr. Marshall Rosenberg did, the creator of Nonviolent Communication, is he sought to understand what are these patterns that are creating disconnection and conflict, and how do we shine a light on it, bring awareness to it, so that we can unwind those patterns and replace it with the kind of habits that are going to bring about a sense of deeper compassion and connection and love. One of the tools that Scott and I work with, because of course we co-created Love Coach Academy, are the 7 adjustments. And I'll be sure to put a link to the 7 adjustments in the chat so you can download that PDF. But it shows you the 7 habits that most commonly undermine relationships. And then it gives you 7 new habits you can put in place, the remedies, you could say, that will support you to transform those patterns. So it's not easy. And then there's questions that will help you out with that. Not easy, but so worthwhile. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for that comment. They really do make a huge difference.
I'm going to take people to your website. There is a question in the chat box, but we've run out of time. So you may want to respond to her, Katrina, directly, or I would suggest, because it's a very complicated question that Rachel asks about a very difficult situation with her granddaughters. And so I would encourage you to maybe even hire Katrina to work with you on that. But here is the website. It's lovesmartcards.com, lovesmartcards.com. And that's where you can learn all about the cards. And you can put your information in there and contact Katrina.
Yes.
And then
you can also go to the coaching and mediation page.
I'll go there right now. There we go.
And then there's the Book Your Liberating Love Strategy session. If there's something you're going through and you really want to create a breakthrough in the next few months, if this is something that really matters to you, I'm willing to gift you an hour session, and we can talk about the challenges you're working through. I can give you direct guidance. Then you can ask any questions that you might have about continued work with me. Of course, Scott is also an amazing coach. And so we're both here as resources for those challenging problems. So you've got a wealth of resources here.
Well, I appreciate that you're willing to do the first session free. That's really generous. And Rachel and any of you, I recommend take her up on that because she's brilliant. And she's also really, really just a lovely person to work with, especially about difficult things. So, Katrina, I love you so much.
Thank you. Love you too, Scott.
Thank you. Well, of course, on our show, one of the things that makes us unique is we have brilliant presenters and then some music to help us digest it. And I'm really happy that Ashok Nalamalapu is back with us. He does beautiful, beautiful kirtan. And so here's a chance for you to all buy your Love Smart cards while you're listening to Ashok's music, or just drop in and we will have an opportunity to spotlight those of you moving and grooving. And welcome back to the Awakening World, Ashok. I'm so grateful for who you are as a being and your presence on the show tonight.
Thank you, Scott, for this invitation. It nurtures a connection and to matter. And Omashar, thank you for your support. It nurtures care. And folks, I invite you to sing with the chorus, move your bodies so that we can all be in joy. And thanks to all who have joined and who will be watching later. I'll be singing a chant called Kali Mata. Omashar is going to post the lyrics. And Kali, Hindu goddess, is known for fierce, demolishing the evil and creating new beginning. I will be singing from my new album called Divine Amma. Amma means mother. And it is not released yet. Thank you. Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
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 Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
You are the mother,
You are the mother,
you are the nature,
you are the nature,
you are the Brahman,
you are the Brahman,
you are the divine,
you are the divine.
you are the mother,
You are the mother,
you are the nature,
you are the nature,
you are the Brahman,
you are the Brahman,
you are the divine,
you are the divine.
you are the mother, you are the nature, you are the Brahman, you are the divine.
You are the mother, you are the nature, you are the Brahman, you are the divine.
You are the mother, you are the nature, you are the Brahman, you are the divine.
You are the mother, you are the nature, you are the Brahman, you are the divine.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
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 Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
You are the love,
You are the love,
you are the energy,
you are the energy,
you are the love,
you are
You are the energy.
You are the energy.
You are the love. You are the energy.
You are the love. You are the energy.
You are the existence.
You
You are
are
the
the
love.
love.
You are the energy. You are the love. You are the energy.
existence.
You are the
You are
absolute.
the absolute.
You are the existence.
You are the existence.
You are the absolute.
You are the absolute.
You are the existence. 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 You are the absolute.
You are the universe.
You are the universe.
You are the consciousness.
You are the consciousness.
You are the universe.
You are the universe.
You are the consciousness.
You are the consciousness.
You are the universe. 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 You are the consciousness.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
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 Kali Mata, Kali Mata. Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata. Kali Mata, Kali Mata. Kali Mata, Kali Mata. Kali Mata, Kali Mata. Kali Mata, Kali Mata. Kali Mata, Kali Mata. Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Kali Mata, Kali Mata,
Kali Mata,
Kali Mata, Kali Mata.
Wow. So inspiring. Like Dr. Laura just wrote, Kirtan is so joyful. It makes me feel like a child. Absolutely. I'm going to go to full gallery view. Let's give a big twinkle to our beloved brother Ashok. And you can learn more about him. He's going to, by the way, close tonight's show out with a kirtan. That'll be the very last thing we do tonight. But when you go to his website, which is swankirtan.com, swan like the beautiful creature that we see in a pond.com. And there's something that I really love, and I remember this when he's been on the show before. I'm going to read from off his website. The focus, and as I say this, imagine living your life the way this beautiful man lives his. The focus of Ashok's daily life centers around his journeys, serving and inspiring others through leading, writing, presenting, and singing, loving his family, God, and God's creation with devotion, realizing the self through yoga, gaining knowledge and wisdom by continuously learning, admiring nature and different cultures by traveling the world, and cherishing every day and being healthy, truthful, and grateful. Ashok's motto: live, love, laugh, learn, lead, and leave a legacy. What a beautiful way to live life, Ashok. You are truly an inspiration. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Scott. And thank you all for dancing and singing.
It's beautiful, just beautiful. Well, this next person hardly needs an introduction for all of our Zoom Room family because she's one of the most beloved members of the Global Peace Tribe. But for any of you that are watching us on Facebook or YouTube who do not know Piper Dellums, in short, she is a force of nature. Piper is the daughter of Congressman Ron Dellums. I have been living in the Bay Area since 1978, and everybody knew Ron Dellums, who was at all politically aware or socially aware. He was really one of the great congressmen of all time. He brought through incredible breakthrough legislation. He was friends with many of the great leaders, truly a great man. And the apple did not fall far from the tree on this one. Piper is many, many things. She's a mother. She is an activist. She is a filmmaker, which is what we're going to be celebrating tonight, as she created several beautiful, amazing films. And so we're going to watch some of those tonight. And first of all, welcome back. Please unmute Piper so we can have the complete Piper experience.
Thank you, Scott. I love you so much. This has been an incredible journey and unveiling so far. Reverend Becky, Katrina, Ashok, Omashar. The most amazing thing, and let's just be honest about the humility by which and the blessing and grace by which Scott is doing this this evening, or presenting these micro 90-second films. This is the first time I've ever created micro films, and I created them for film festivals that were asking for us to illuminate the oneness of humanity so that we could bring a conversation of joy and peace in the world. What occurred to me through that process is that the algae, or the algae of my experience, was coming to the forefront so that I could die to self, move away and understand, have an ego death to understand what it was that was moving me to discouragement and disappointment through that process. So the Awakening World is the perfect title and the perfect experience for that, because it it became an awakening after a wounding. And Scott, of course, every morning has been a brother, a love, a family, a spirit, a source. Every morning when I awaken, he sends me a text and he pours into my world and into my life, and I'm able to pour back into him. So I wanted to thank him for that. What I'm understanding, and even from Katrina's teaching, is losing that festival was the loss that became a door for me. And driving home from that experience, I ran into 2 dead baby calves and a giant dead hawk in the middle of the freeway. And although I was wrapped in my ego soreness, I pulled my car off in the middle of the freeway so that I could honor these fallen ancestors. And I ran down and picked up the hawk, carried him back to the car, and laid him in the side in the grasses to honor his life, and took his left wing because that represents the feminine, so that I could soak it and honor it to make a fan and a way to open up and move the energy and the experience, and also honor my father, who comes to me in hawks and hawk feathers consistently since his transition. But I pulled over and I wrote something, and this is different, Scott, because I didn't share it, but I wanted to share it because I'm understanding that I'm dying to self. And I think that this show thus far has been about us stepping into the honesty of where we are, who we are, so that we can rise to this 5th dimension ascension. But I had a lot of ego attached, and I understood that it was more attached to ancestral wounding and feeling unseen or made invisible in this time in our political climate and our society. So I wrote at the side of the road, I once wept as if the earth had turned her back on me. When a gate closed that I called a film festival, I saw the no not as silence, but as betrayal, not of my art, but of the ancient ones who whisper in my blood. I thought, did they not hear my drum? Did they not see the feathers in my breath, the roots in every word, the fire that danced behind each frame? But ego wears many masks, and mine wore the crown of legacy. My wound cried not just for me, but for my mother's mother's mother, for my father's stolen tongue, for the languages lost to empire, and the songs buried beneath broken treaties. I mistook a jury's blindness for ancestral erasure. I made my offering to the wrong altar, and the inner critic rose, a serpent of self-loathing whispering, you are not enough. You are unseen. You are undone. But spirit is not concerned with trophies, and my ancestors did not bleed so I could cling to applause. They came to remind me my films are not entertainment. They are ritual. They are download. They are earth code wrapped in light. Now I know the loss was not rejection. It was redirection. It was the crumbling of a false crown so I could kneel in truth, barefoot in the river of humility. I create now not to win, but to witness, to honor, to remember. Each image is a libation, each line a chant, each silence an echo of something sacred. I serve not the stage, but the spirit, not the market, but the mission, not the gatekeepers, but my guides. who walk beside me unseen, chanting in the old tongue. We did not die for your ego. We lived for your purpose. And with that, I was able to drive home and find my way back to home. And I thank you, Scott, for recognizing that part of myself that needed witness was not in the film, but in the download.
Mm,
Thank you for that.
Thank you for helping to model for us how to manage disappointment in a beautiful way and to seek and find the sacred, even when we're in disappointment, even when we're going through those hard times. And it's a lot of hard times for a lot of people right now.
Yeah,
I know
absolutely.
you've gone through extraordinarily difficult things.
Yeah.
Thank
you, Scott. I mean, I walked through that door, like you said, I'm always walking with a crown of legacy. I'm walking with, oh, my dad ended apartheid. He wrote the apartheid, the sanctions bill. Oh, he stopped the B-2 bomber and the MX missile and was in the center of the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs and Grenada as a 3-day-old nation and picking fruit and cotton with Cesar Chavez and giving Cesar Chavez's eulogy and Gloria Steinem and Harvey Milk. And these were the people that were in our homes, and they all walked together as a rainbow coalition of humanity to bear witness to injustice and to fight for this ascension. And I think I felt very burdened and interwoven with what's happening in the world. And so when I walked into the festival, being one of maybe 3 people who bore my skin, who bore African or Native American or indigenous blood, and I walked in with images and downloads from my ancestors. So it wasn't this extraordinary cinematic thing, that everyone presented. So my wounding was so personal because I was holding on to generational wounds and feeling responsible for getting that forth in a world that's erasing us as a people again and again, until Spirit said no. Those films were seen by God, by your ancestors, by the earth, by the hawk who sacrificed for you to find and adore, by the awakening worlds, by Scott, by the ascended, by those who are opening to this 5th dimension. So get out of this world's definition of art and recognize that you're not making film, you're downloading like Omashar with the song. And it's really my words that need to be seen. And then I try to paint around what I'm told to say. So I think it's more about that. And I recognize that now.
Well, we get to watch the films now.
Well, these are 90-second little.
They're beautiful. Each one is a gem. I want to read a few comments and then tell me which one you want me to show in order, because I've got them all downloaded, but I've got them downloaded at 2 different places. And a couple of comments. Katie writes, Piper, you are wonderful. Amanda writes, you are the legacy Piper. TR says, Piper, you are powerful. Roger and Bonnie write, Piper, you move me in a way I cannot explain. You are magnificent. Ayada writes, we lived for your purpose. Piper, this was so deeply moving and powerful. Thank you.
I love you all so much. It's so humbling, but only here in our Awakening World family, because we know that we're awakening every day and we're dying every day to self. Are we able to look at the algae in our lives that we have to get rid of so that we can be that love vibration to shift it all? And, the algae that I work on is the anger, the lust, the greed, the ego, and the attachments. They're all very difficult to let go of. And I think ego death is the last of those. And I was very much humbled, and I'm humbled by all of your love, and it also feeds me. And so when this is over, if we have time It's the letter that I wrote to Scott and to Gary, to thank them for always seeing me. And sometimes this love is more than just wind beneath the wings. It is the ancestors touching me through Scott and through those of this family that have continued to love and ascend me, even when I'm on my knees and feeling as if I don't have the strength even to crawl. And then I can stand again. And today feels like I'm not just standing, but I'm dancing and rejoicing. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. Very grateful.
Thank you. Which film would you like me to show first?
It's really up to you. I guess maybe Our Story. Because this is our story.
All right.
Humanity in
Thank you.
90 seconds.
Yeah.
Humanity moves like a river, each current carrying a different remedy. Some speak in fire, shaping the world with force. Some whisper in wind, bending without breaking. Some are the deep roots holding the weight of our history. No single path is the cure, but together we form the medicine that heals the fractures in our knowing. In our story, told in one land and answered in another, a song rises in the mountains and finds its echo in the sea. Every hand, every tongue, every way of being is a thread in the vast weaving of awakening.
I gotta figure out how. I think it automatically goes to the next one, so hold on.
What is that? It's fantastic.
It's from another I guess it goes into my download, so I'll have
Oh,
to.
that's sweet.
Yep. Okay, so hang on, let me go back. First of all, absolutely beautiful. It's the first time I've done it this way, so I apologize for
Humanity moves like a river. Wow, I sound like very dramatic.
You are. You rock.
When I hear it again, I'm like, what is going on? Humanity moves.
But we've got more. So which one shall we show next?
It's really up to you. They would download everything you can show, whatever you have lined up.
All right, let's take a look at.
I have an unkamaki in my backyard, an ancestral redwood, and she awakens and talks to me.
All right, we're going to go to one called Everything. This is called Everything.
Once before names, before time had a ticking heart, there was only a breath. From that breath came the first tree, its roots curling like sleepy fingers into the belly of the earth, its arms stretching high to whisper secrets to the stars. From its leaves the first bird was born, feathers woven from the laughter of the wind. And when the bird danced, the rivers shivered awake, spilling silver ribbons across the land. And then came us, not as enemies, not as separate from anything or anyone, but as echoes of the same first breath. one consciousness, one family, one awakening. Our bones, our veins, our eyes, holding pieces of the sun. We are one with the grass, the stars, the elephant, and the dance. And if you listen with your spirit, you will hear that we are the very song of everything.
I'm going to read a few comments before we get to the next one because they're flying in very quickly. Susan Woolridge loved the line, holding pieces of the sun.
Mm.
Grace writes, Piper, your work is incredible and so inspiring. Thank you for listening to your guidance and for being the gift you are and for all that you do and will do. Absolutely.
Mm.
Tiara writes, simply beautiful. Grace Denise writes, Piper, your work is incredible, so inspiring. Thank you for listening to your guidance. Oh, I just read that. Grace writes, great art is eternal, from world depending to eternal connecting. Amanda writes, what a stunning film. Susan writes, Piper, inspiring courage, honesty, beauty, heart, bless you and love you. And the power and beauty of your voice, right? I mean, you have like the most extraordinary voice. Dr. Laura is asking, what is your Native American heritage? Lineage or tribe that you're related to?
Sac and Fox and Blackfoot. And my mother's father migrated from Ottawa, Canada. And as you know, we are still, well, I won't get into the darkness, but we're still having a resurrection of the bones of thousands of our children in Canada from the Christian boarding schools. So that was a painful migration, but and a beautiful one. Sac and Fox is a very small nation now. Blackfoot actually is also small, just from being wiped out, but they have joined beautifully in heritage. And when we do a lot of the events together, powwows as they're called together, we do get to join with the 7 largest Cherokee nations, like the White Wolf Clan and the Deertail Clan and others. But yes, Sac and Fox and Blackfoot.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And thank you for those beautiful comments. It's quite funny because my ex-husband was considered one of the greatest cinematographers. We shot tens of thousands of pieces of footage that probably make up 40% of stock footage. And so one of the things that was so wonderful about putting these together is to be able to utilize those memories and that footage. And I actually saw some of our footage in other people's films. Yeah, and I was like, wow. And so I think that was probably also one of the disappointments is I thought, wow, I wrote it, I shot it, I edited it, I did it all, narrated it. Yeah, so my ego got wounded. I knew I wasn't going to win, but I figured there were 9 awards. All I thought was it didn't even get an honorary mention. That was gut-wrenching. But it's all good.
Piper, I want to also remind you they received over 400 submissions.
Oh, 700.
700 submissions. 700 submissions.
Yeah.
You made it into 11 finalists.
I know, with 4 films.
But
I know. I told you, it was this strange feeling of walking into the room, and I was so wrapped in being the only ethnic person that I took it personally, as opposed to, it wasn't, it's a difficult way that we walk through the world, You know, as an African American and an Indigenous, you walk through the world, and every step you take, no matter where you are, whether it's a store, a restaurant, your graduate school, or amongst friends, anywhere in the world, you're always bearing witness. There's never not an inner voice of what is the dialogue of those around me. And I have to learn to bear witness to humanity through the lens of love that I'm projecting, and not always being in self-protection with a belief system that no matter where or what I do, that I'm being judged based on that first, even if it's true. It's not a way to stay in high frequency or to ascend or to send love, you know, out in this new global family. So it's something I have to learn to unravel, because it's such an imprint in my existence, you know. That self-protection, and then feeling like, oh, maybe my films were too ethnic, or they were too, that's the reason. And this is what I was telling myself. So I'm aware that my inner dialogue may not have, it's a societal betrayal, and I'm embracing it and painting a false picture, which is why I wrote that, you know, what I said to you earlier, it's part of my healing, you know.
It's complex, and
Yeah.
you know, I appreciate how you're educating us and helping us to remember what it's like being a woman of color, living in a country that has the horrific history of slavery and not having equal rights, and that sadly there's a very strong, right now the new administration is clearly dedicated to the white Christian nationalist vision, which excludes just about everything other than white Christians. And I don't want to get too political. We're going to be talking about next week, actually.
Sure.
And we're also way over our time on the agenda.
Oh,
I
let's
want
go.
to get to, we've got this next beautiful film. Let me go back to the films. Is called Love is the Universe.
Oh,
Love is
these are my paintings that I turned into animated characters.
Here we go.
Children of the fallen stars, remember who you are. The sorrows of this age are ageless, as fleeting as wind and the passing of time. Look up.
This transcendent unfolding universe emerged through love's decree 13.7 billion years ago, birthing the legacy of humanity through eternity's womb on your little planet orbiting the sun. The universe is a place of infinite stories and infinite wisdom, the mystery and the magic, the awe and the artistry, the bayou and the bear, the raven and the river rock, the sadness and the symphony, the chemistry and the kudu, the birthing place of love formed by God as you.
For just as an orchid is the universe in the form of a flower, love is the universe in the form of it all, the meaning, the moment, and the medicine.
Love is the universe reflecting itself as you.
I gotta say, that one's my favorite. It is just so extra. Does everybody realize that that's all Piper? All Piper in her different incarnations.
All my ancestors.
You know, it's such an extraordinary.
God, I love you.
Oh no, I love
funny
it
because they said to me, "Can you please give us a clearance letter for the the male voices?" And I was like, "Oh, they're all me." And they were like, "No, for the actors." And so I'm on the phone and I was like, "Children of the fallen stars," and they went, and they went, "Oh."
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, it's just me sitting in the house trying to figure out voices. But thanks, Scott.
So I'm going to read more. There's a lot of comments on this one. Grace Denise writes, "Wow, Dr. Laura says, all those characters are so cool, Piper. Remarkable. Andrew Kane, wow. Diara, fierce in the most beautiful way. Amanda, amazingly powerful. Wild monk of the mystic monastery, Jerry Anderson writes, oh my God, so profound. Susan, universe emerged through love's decree. So amazing. All right, we have one last one. Let me go line it up. I've had to do a little bit of dancing here. We're going to close that out, and we are going to go back to the place where I have all of them. Uh-oh.
I think it's called If You Listen.
If You Listen. Hang on, I've got to back and do it this way. Okay, here we go.
If you listen.
Hold on. We gotta go back. Here we go. Oops. Apologize. I thought I pressed play, but it took us to something else.
It took you to a film I made for Scott.
Yeah, which I love that film. I've got all the Piper Dellums things in one place. So hang on, let's try it again.
I mean, I made for Gary. Sorry, for Gary. Today, everyone is Scott. Everyone's Scott.
Here we go.
If you listen, you will hear the whispers of the ancestors. The ones who walked with the desert winds, who knew the language of shifting sands. The ones who traced the stars with their bare hands, who mapped the sky like a living scripture. The ones who spoke to rivers and carried fire in their bones, who danced with the thunder to call down the rains. The ones who wove their prayers into cloth, who carved their wisdom into stone. Each carries a breath, a fragment of the divine intention, a key to the wholeness we have forgotten. Not one can survive without the other. Not one can complete this circle alone. For only when we remember all of it will we become the great healing we were always meant to be.
They're all coming up.
That's a whole different.
All the wonderful
All the
Pipers.
films.
We are chased in our lives by the relentless need
Oh,
for
God.
something else.
There we go.
There we go. So yeah,
Your films are amazing. I wish I could be a little bit more adept with showing.
you're amazing, Scott. You're amazing. Thank you for thank you for just showing those little those little 90-second moments of loving humanity. And I have 64 films on my YouTube channel called The Dream is Love. They're all meditative. There are or wisdom. 13 of them are with Dr. Ivy Hilton. Another maybe 15 are with Gary Malkin's music, and others are just films that I've made when there have been a download. So, and some are just for meditation. So feel free to sit quietly and allow the spirit of download and music to carry you if you so desire. And it's called The Dream is Love at The Dream is Love.
I just pulled it up while you were talking. Here it is on YouTube. There it is. The Dream is Love, Piper Dellums. And if you just put Piper Dellums in, you'll find all of her wonderful things on YouTube. And I also want to take people to your website, which
is loveretreats.com.
And I'm pulling that up. I had it. Oh, make sure that everybody is seeing it. There it is.
There it is.
Love Retreats. What would you most like for me to point out to people here?
Well, this one website will take you, as you see, to my wisdom films, music and more, to the meditations at the top that I've collaborated with sound bath healers and crystal harp healers, to the YouTube channel. But also, because you had the beautiful Reverend on in the show you did last week on the LGBTQ plus community, and knowing that we're coming into Pride, I have clothing and merchandise lines that are for humanity, each something different and unique. And one of the campaigns is Love is Love. I don't think that, I don't know if you keep going. I don't know if that's on there. I think if you scroll out, go back out to the homepage. Oh, you can do it there, where it says "Purchase to Help Humanity" at the top. Right after retreats.
Got it.
There, and on there we have Hope Wins, Love is Love. Each one of those, whatever you buy, the money goes to these organizations. This one is for Hope Refuge, where I am the teacher to 100 trafficked teens. That's in Santa Barbara, and they need resource. They need blankets and food and clothing and all of those things consistently. For the Love is Love campaign, if you purchase there, it goes to the nonprofit that rescues LGBTQ plus teens from suicide, addiction, running away to the streets. And the Beautifully Black clothing line is there because we have over 140,000 missing African American girls in America that no one's looking for. So I'm trying to bring awareness and also trying to do my part with what resource I have, and my resource has been creativity. So I thought, well, people always want something for something. So I've created lots of different pieces of merchandise to assist in that, from clothing to yoga mats, you name it. And it all goes to those different and unique organizations. And Follow the Sun goes, of course, to planting trees and to rescuing the bee population and other pollinators. So, yeah.
Well, everybody go check out isloveretreats.com. We are so way over time. I know that you had the beautiful thing you wrote for Gary and I.
Okay.
Perhaps I can put it in the chat box. Would you be
Well, you received it. That's what was important.
Well, it was absolutely made my morning. It was early morning that I got it, and if you want to share it with the audience, you may.
That's up to you, because it was for you.
You can pop it in the chat box. I would
be darling. All right, my
and
love.
Everybody, thank you for being who you are, Piper.
I love you.
Let's all support her. isloveretreats.com. Thank you, Piper.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh boy, what a show, huh? But wait, there's more. And it is the middle of the night in England, and the only person who is awake is our dear Amanda Waring. And I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. So it's Waring?
Yes, wearing. That's perfect.
Waring. Okay. So not wearing, but wearing.
Just wearing. Yes, Amanda isn't wearing anything. It was what was said at school.
Well,
but I am wearing clothes tonight, even though it is nearly 4 a.m. I'm dressed and ready for you all. And yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. You know, Amanda is a big part of the Unity Earth family. And she shared her beautiful poem. And I said, oh my God, you know, this show on Saturday night is all about artists and artistry and wisdom. And so it's wonderful to have you here. And tell us a little bit, for people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself. What would you like for our audience to know about you?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I honor it. I mean, just to follow Piper as well, and we've done a back to back before. So lovely, and I just am thrilled with the honesty of the exposing of the psyche in its frailty and the honesty of that. And I think on some levels, with my work, which a lot of it is around poetry, to shift people who have gone through domestic abuse, child abuse. I create these medicine journeys where not only do I sing through and within the poems that are strong medicine. They're not ones that I will share today because they are strong. They take people on a journey that is through the experience and then out through into a form of a resolution that is curative in its impact on the soul. And the reason why I do what I do is I'm an actress, a writer, a filmmaker, a celebrant, an inspirational speaker. And a lot of the work that I've done in England has been about making films and writing books on care, compassion and care, end of life care. So I set up the Dignity in Care campaign in the UK. And my film that's called What Do You See is used by millions of people around the world to transform care. So that's what I'm known in the UK, very much around that. And I sold my flat to make that film in honor of my mother, who also, like Piper, I had a mother that was very well known. And I also had a legacy to live up to. So I so understand the pain of coming into one's own light and also making sure that the ego stays on the level. So I also, for me, with my sort of slightly ADHD brain, I love to do lots of creative things all at once. So that's how I managed to kind of shift from any creative approach. So it might be poetry, it might be singing, it might be dancing, the energy, just as I've been witnessing so beautifully. And for me, I just know that my creativity has saved my life again and again. And where I feel very honored is that when my poetry is used for those that work in deep therapy, for example, or if I work as a medicine woman and I will use my poetry working through people that are going through trauma, it takes courage to share words that are hard and harsh to hear. But if we're not prepared to go to that level, then you're not prepared to heal to that level. So that is part of my passion. And I guess, sorry, I'm rambling, Scott. You can ask me a question and stop me anytime.
Okay, well, you're doing a wonderful job of rambling. And what an extraordinary life you've had. You really have been quite the performer, playing the lead at the age of 17. You opened Shakespeare's Globe Theater. You've starred in television shows, including ones we all know, Sherlock Holmes, even playing the princess in the Oscar-nominated film Princess and the Pea. So artistic director of your own production company. I mean, it's really remarkable. And you've worked with some of the greats, Dame Virginia McKenna, Hugh Bonneville, and Robert Powell. And you tour with one-woman shows. So, I mean, I'm really honored to have you on the show tonight. And that you are a precious member of our Global Peace Tribe.
Well, you inspire me.
Well, thank you.
You have become family, so it's been so important. And you know, there was a time where I started as Gigi when I was, yes, at that young age, in the West End, and then I was supposed to take it to Broadway or do My Fair Lady on Broadway. So there was a whole trajectory of a career that was there for me on some levels, but I took a different path. And I think that at that time was absolutely the right path to explore other aspects of what I can provide. And yes, all of you, and that you know, in my nighttime journeys with people on the Awakening World and One World, and I always feel like there's a few of us English stalwarts that are there, but I am just so honored to be part of it. So I'd love to share with you some of the poems, because partly where you've embraced the poems, and you guys have always been the first people to hear the poems as well, is because I saw a need when we all get lost, when we get down, when we are trying to find our courage or find our inner wisdom. You've provided spaces for me to share some poems. So is that all right now if I share a couple of
Would
poems?
love that.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. So maybe just in relation to everything we've been talking about, and the courage to face ourselves, and the courage to stand in the light and in the darkness. This is called Courage is Contagious.
Mm.
Courage is contagious. It's not advantageous to hide in the shadows. Reside in the light, in full flight, full bloom, not entombed, but voicing, dancing freedom, planting seeds of wisdom, not planting weeds of war. Cultivate courage. Do not be discouraged. Become the ripple in the ocean that starts a wave of motion. Courage is contagious. It's not outrageous to think you make a difference. Together, just like birds of a feather, starlings on the wing, we can sing and shapeshift into a larger thing, into anything, voicing reason and something to believe in. Courage is contagious, and so is love in action. Let's start a chain reaction, not built on distraction, but engagement in rebuilding. With hope and community, we will create a path to unity. Courage is contagious. May that spark of courage held within your heart ignite the dark, light up the night, joining other beacons, standing up for what is right. Courage is contagious. Courage is contagious. Courage is contagious.
I'm going to go to gallery view because I'd love for us to all just tweet.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let's all remember that courage is contagious. And this is a time that we need to really be courageous on this planet with all the change, and some of the change is scary. And you know, the courage that Piper has demonstrated, the courage that really that is kind of a running theme through tonight's show. So Amanda, that poem was just a perfect start.
You,
I believe there's a little more you'd be willing to share with us.
I would indeed. Thank you. Yes, this is also about really how do we hold onto a vision that against all the odds, the vision that, you know, we choose to see, as well as looking at the reality. But there is something in the, you see, I always speak in poetry, I'm so sorry, but there's something in the integrity, I know, can't switch me off, but there's something in the integrity of being, oh, sorry, it just says, it looks like my sound might have switched to a different language. That's not, you can still hear me, can't you?
We hear you and see you, and whatever you're seeing.
I'm a global poet. So let me read this one then. So this is called You Are the Oracle. So you are the oracle. No, this is not rhetorical, not you in a past life, but you now, fully alive, because your attention defines and defies convention. You are the intervention, the disruptor or corrupter, the imagination conductor. You are the oracle. For what you see, yes, it will be. Your vision becomes your template, and I do not exaggerate. What you hold in your mind's eye can amplify your mission to bring what you choose into fruition. You are the oracle, the world bringer, the soul singer, the bell ringer. With every thought, you bring forth your reality. We are the oracles. For what we perceive, we will receive. So let's create magic for all, and through our call, remind one and all, we all are the oracles we have been waiting for.
Once again, I'm going to gallery view, everybody. Let's give her. We are, we've heard before, we are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the oracles as well. And each and every one of us, it's a call to tune into spirit. We've done a lot of shows recently about how the veils are thin, and now we have access to angels, ancestors, extraterrestrial family. And I really appreciate how you're helping to remind us of that, Amanda.
Thank you so much, Scott. Are you happy for one more? Or
I was hoping, I don't want to sound like Oliver Twist asking for more gruel, but yes, if you'd be willing to share at least one or two more, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. So there's something here for the grandmother's song. And this is part of sort of the poetries that I said that I had earlier. And sometimes we need that comfort, and that comfort of the wise elders, and the ability to call them in as well, and the ability to feel that embrace. So this is called Grandmother's Song. And for all of us who may be hurting, feeling alone, lost, untreasured right now. I'm gonna blow a soul sound into you, child. I'm gonna blow a soul sound into your soul. I'm gonna weave the words that I've been told, speak them soft and speak them bold, unify and rectify the lost parts of your heart. I'm going to sing your soul song and bring you home and remind you that in your darkness, you are loved. In your grief, you are loved. In your aloneness, you are loved. In your silence, you are loved. And in your seeking, you are loved. My grandmother and her grandmother and her grandmother before wrap you in a shawl of song and story, reflecting back the glory of all that you are. We sing from the moon. We sing from the stars. We sing healing to mend all your wounds and your scars. I'm gonna blow a soul sound into you, child. I'm gonna blow a soul sound into your soul. I'm gonna weave the words that I've been told. Speak them soft and speak them bold. Unify and rectify the lost parts of your heart.
Time to gallery view. This woman has so much that she's providing. We're going to spend a few minutes on her website because you're like Piper. You're one of those people that just is doing so many wonderful things. So her website is her name, Amanda Waring, WARING.com. And she is an inspirational speaker. She's a medicine woman. She's a global celebrant, poetry for peace. There's so many things happening on this website. Tell us a little bit about this, the Poetry for Women.
Yes, this is a booklet that I've created for women, and it's interesting because originally I said for women. It is for everybody, but my first thought was that for women to find the inner peace. So I have a poem called "We Are Family," which I think I've read on this show before. The sort of the powerful poem to let everybody rise up as women. But also within that, it's how do we find our rest? And how do we have our reset? And how do we find that deep joy in the simple stillness? So the poetry covers different aspects of looking at our soul, welcoming peace into our own being, how to feel aligned with your own exquisite pain. That exquisite pain that allows us to learn again and again and again. And then how do we find that restitution and celebration of who we are? So it takes a whole journey with the poems, very simply. And I also do quite a few of the poems as read, because I always find that I love to read a poem on the page, but I also love to hear how the author shares it and what magic they might bring within that. So on my YouTube channel, Amanda Waring Films, I would love it if you guys would feel like you wanted to subscribe, and on there you'll see those sacred medicine journeys, the ones I talked about that come with certain warnings. But there's many meditations, there's many activations within the different poetry that I choose to do. And something else that I'm working on at the moment is, and I'll talk to Piper, but a unity concert looking at poets for peace as well. And so I would love to share. Yeah, thank you. Yes, and I'm working just with that oracle poem with young people. So I often go in and teach filmmaking in schools and things as well, and or inspire others to become actors, even though most people say don't be an actor. I'm going, no, absolutely, because whether you get work as an actor or not, it's actually about having that expression. As you said today, the artist's creative expression is our sanity. Whether we win awards or we don't win awards, the fact that we are showing up and showing ourselves inspires others to do the same. And We Are the Oracle, I've invited them to see a vision for themselves through film or poetry or art, to hold those visions, because the young people coming up, they are the ones that are now having to take the seeds and help water them and weed them. I think those aren't any good anymore, but let's give them that sense of vision and hope where we can.
Yes. And while you're talking, I did go and find you on YouTube.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Here it is. If you go into YouTube and you put in Amanda Waring Films, and also there's her podcast interviews, which will include, hopefully, we'll send you this one you're doing tonight. And look at all these beautiful things she has: poetry for peace, healing words and spiritual reflections, words and songs, music and ceremonies for inner peace, dignity and care, an award-winning film on What Do You See? There's a lot. So between Amanda and Piper, we've got a lot of wonderful movies and videos to watch. And thank you so much for staying up. Now, did you stay up or did you go to sleep and wake up early?
No, I've just powered through. It's good. I will sleep shortly.
Oh my
But
gosh.
thank you.
Well, may you sleep really, really well, knowing that your global peace tribe loves and appreciates you very, very much. And I'm going to actually read a few of the comments that have come in. Uh, Ayara is kind of making fun of me. She says, "More? You want more?" Said in a strange accent. Um, you guys, they picked up my little joke about Oliver Twist asking for more gruel. Omashar and Ayada picked up on that. Kathy, in response to you, Amanda says, beautifully said. Andrew Kane, very inspiring. Carol Simus writes, beautiful, Amanda. Thank you. Dr. Laura writes, I love your shamanic being, Amanda. Andrew again says, beautiful. And Ashok, I have given you the ability to record. That's handled. And thank you, Piper, for posting that incredibly beautiful poem that you wrote, that poetic appreciation. Thank you. And Kathy appreciates what you were just saying right now about children and artists of the future. So you're reaching us on many levels in many ways. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you. Well, we are going to go to Omashar and Desiree for a song to kind of digest all of this. What a beautiful evening it's been. Amanda, Piper, Katrina, Ashok, very, very powerful. And speaking of British, there he is, our favorite house musical artist, Brit.
Please, sir.
I'm glad you picked up on that. Thank you.
Of course I did. How I mean, we were. It was whipped into us, that shame and guilt. So
Right.
there it is.
Just a little bit more gruel, please.
I know. We're still trying to extricate ourselves from that. Luckily, we have a new family here, so we're re-parenting ourselves.
Absolutely.
So,
and Desiree, how are you doing? Am I overworking you tonight, Desiree?
I am having a great time. Like as every speaker is talking, I'm getting intuitive message downloading. We're opening up heart chakras, we're clearing throat chakras, we're raising the vibration. So I absolutely love this. Thank you.
Great. And can you, because people in the audience have been asking, what is it she's doing? Can you describe it, what your experience is?
Yeah, so I feel energy in my entire body. Okay. So as I channel that energy, I'm actually channeling whatever they're saying as well as messages. So if you watch my body language, as we're raising energy, my hands are going to go up. As we're expanding energy, my hands are going to go out. This one is a big one that comes up a lot today. That's light worker energy. That's the blessings. That's been coming up a lot. Opening up the heart chakra, especially when my hands come out from my heart, that's opening the heart chakra. All those different movements mean different things as I'm moving that energy. So you'll see that, but you might also feel it too on your body as we open up that heart. We are doing a lot of crown opening as well, a lot in the solar plexus today. We're clearing energy out of that, bringing out our confidence, bringing out our willpower, bringing out our true soul's purpose. All of that's coming in today.
It's so beautiful. And actually, a couple of people are commenting right now on it. Kathy writes, I knew that from watching her when I first came into the room, I can feel her. And Dr. Laura writes, yes, Scott, this has been a wonderful evening of love, beauty, healing, and unity. Thanks to all the presenters and to Desiree. And Rev Becky is still commenting on Amanda being so gifted with words and love and presence. So thank you. And Piper writes, wow, Desiree, an angel. And yes, you are truly an earth angel. And it would take one like Piper, who's also an earth angel, to know that. All right, I am going to exit stage left and turn it back over to Omashar.
breathing free again. I love the air we breathe, and as we fly again, I love the sacred sky. Now we are whole again. I love the way we've changed, with open hearts again. I love the love we are. We are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars. And as we walk again, we know the sacred earth. And as we see again, to ourselves we give birth. And as we feel again, our boundaries dissolve, and free to love again, right from the heart of one. We are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars. And now that we are home, and all is said and done, light can find its way through all the true ones, and broken hearts resolve into the song of life. And the song of life will now be heard by all. And we are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars.
Oh, gonna go to full gallery view. Thank you so much, Omashar. Thank you so much, Desiree. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful. Wow. Omashar, I've got the camera on you. What would you like to share from tonight? What stands out for you?
For me, it's just how the weaving, we're all on different versions of the same path. And I just find as everyone shares, and the vulnerability and the tenderness it just is, my heart is just melting open and open and open. And for Piper to come on, for instance, and share that which she shared, which could in a past life have been absolutely ego crushing, and of course it should be, because that is what's being dissolved. It's not being replaced, it's just being dissolved and resolved. So the true ego, the true divine feminine, we can finally walk together again. But it's like from my perspective, the ego just needs to take a back seat for a while, whilst the divine feminine comes in and fully exemplifies herself through our bodies. And then ego can, well, not ego, but let's find some other way of communicating that word. But masculine and feminine, need to turn your mic on, Piper. And I could lip read though, it was cool.
I was like, wow. But you saw that my other half, my 170-pound other half, came running into the room from all of that energy from your music. He jumped and kissed and licked, and then he was singing. So I was like, thank God that the audio's off.
These shows are almost preordained before we have them, because I basically tune into the energy, as we all do. And for some reason, it just unpacks, because in that video that I have running behind me, we had down in Peru, I forget the tribe it was, excuse me.
That was beautiful.
It was amazing. We had a ceremony with about 130 of us, and the tribe came in full regalia and did their blessing in the center of our circle. And but it just fits so perfectly. It just dovetails with everything that's been happening tonight.
Yeah.
And Amanda coming in from England, and I was with her last year in the Avery Stone Circle. So the ley lines are just kind of shooting out with that energy at this moment. And anyway, there it is. There's no more words, Scott. It's just a meant to be moment, and this is rippling out into the field, and we are feeling that which we need to get out of the way of, because any button that's being pressed in me, I know is not me.
Well, I've brought all of our presenters back on, and because the show has actually ended up going later than originally planned, what I'm going to suggest is that we actually, instead of showing the Jim Garrison video and then having Ashok play, I'm actually going to suggest that Ashok do his kirtan now, so that everybody can enjoy it, because not everybody might be able to stay up for the Jim Garrison video. So if that doesn't throw you off too much, Ashok, and I just want to say thank you to each of these beautiful artists. And isn't it wonderful, each person expressing themselves in a different way? Music, poetry, film, video, kirtan, movement, light language. This is the life that we're leading. And of all the incredible questions one could ask, the most important seems to be, what is the name of your dog? People, minds need to know.
Oh my gosh. His name is Chai, like the tea, Chai Hawk.
Chai Hawk. Of course, Hawk, of course.
Of course.
Well, thank you, Katrina, Amanda, Desiree, Piper, Omashar. And I'm going to put the pin on Ashok and myself to lead our closing kirtan.
Thank you, Scott. So, folks, please turn your video on, sing along, dance, and let's have some joy. I'll be singing Jai Radhe. Jai Radhe. Radhe is feminine goddess. And Omashar, can you put the lyrics, please?
It's already in there, brother.
Okay, thank you, brother. And Jai Sri Krishna. So it's a victory to divine feminine and divine masculine. Thank you for dancing and singing. Radhe, Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe.
Jai Shri Krishna Bolo 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 Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe,
Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe.
Jai Jai Shri 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 Radhe.
Radhe 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 Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe.
Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Shri Krishna Bolo Jai Radhe.
Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. Jai Radhe.
Wow.
He has one more.
The next chant is Holy Mother Sarada Devi. Sarada Devi is a consort of Paramhamsa, Sri Ramakrishna Paramhamsa. She said that if you want peace, don't find faults with others. Look at yourself and see what you could change. And she also said that nobody is a stranger. We are all here to love each other. Holy Mother Sarada Devi. Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi.
Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi.
Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi.
Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi.
Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi.
Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi.
Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi.
Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi.
Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi.
Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi.
Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Holy Mother Sarada Devi.
Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, Holy Mother Sharada Devi.
Holy Mother Sarada Devi, Sarada Devi.
Wow.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Omashar. Thank you all.
Thank you. Big, big, big gallery view. Gonna give some loves, give some twinkles. Isn't it beautiful kirtan is just such a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. And we need to have more kirtan on this show, actually. It really, every time I have it, it's like, oh yeah, we need to do more of this. Tell our audience a little bit more about yourself and what you're doing in your life at this time when you're not on the awakening world.
Well, my name is Ashok Nalamalapu. I live in Encinitas, California. It's near San Diego. Its other name of Encinitas is it's the closest heaven on earth. Beautiful weather throughout the year. We have amazing beach. We have spectacular gardens of self-realization fellowship. And it's a big yoga community, spiritual community. I used to live in Portland, Maine in the cold weather. I wanted to find a place where I can pursue my spiritual path. So I sold my business and I came with one suitcase, and about a year and a half ago, then I built this home temple. So I believe in names are many, God is one. Paths are many, peak is one. So I sing multi-faith chants, and this new album is called Divine Amma. Amma is mother. So soon I will be releasing this album, and Swan Kirtan, swankirtan.com, so you can find me to reach me out.
Here it is, swankirtan.com, and that's where you can find all about his upcoming events and, of course, get his music. Ashok, thank you so very much for being with us tonight, and I hope you'll come back again soon.
Sure. Thank you all.
Well, I want to just make a couple of quick announcements. I always like to let people know what's coming up next. On Wednesday night's show, we're going to be talking about how to navigate some of the spiritual divisions that are taking place in our world. And obviously it's heartbreaking, the polarization, the racism, the difficult things that we're facing. And so we've got 4 really wise souls who are going to be sharing some of their thoughts, and it's going to be a conversation. It's going to be similar to some of the shows where we've really want to invite all of you to converse. We are not going to take a particular political stance, although I'm sure some people will express their feelings about, the racism that's taking place. But it's going to be a dynamic evening, so please do join us on Wednesday night for what's going to be a very, very important show. And that's kind of leads into what I have planned for this evening. It's a little bit different, but I know many of you are tuned into Humanity Rising. It's Jim Garrison and Ubiquity University. And Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific time, they do a program. You think I'm doing a lot. I only do 2 or 3 shows a week. They do 5. They probably have a bigger staff than I do. But anyway, their shows are wonderful. And last week, Jim Garrison, who's the main guy, gave what I thought was a really very important, heartfelt talk about what's happening. Now, I want to acknowledge that it's called Navigating Through Trump Land. And I want to acknowledge that if any of you are feeling good about the choices that the president is making, or some of you maybe feel good about some of his choices, but not other choices, I'm not playing this as an anti-Trump message, but as rather a lot of what he shares is meaningful. There were things that I didn't know that he shared. I want to say that personally, I am not 100% everything Trump does is bad. I'm hopeful about Robert Kennedy being put into the position of Health and Human Services. But navigating our way through these times is definitely a challenging moment, a challenging experience. And I have so much respect for Jim Garrison. He and Danny Sheehan are colleagues who are working very closly in creating the New Paradigm Institute. Of course, I hope all of you have by now watched the program that Danny did on Monday night. For those of you who missed it live, I emailed it out to everybody. So you've got the link. It's on our YouTube channel also. And remember, you can find all of our programs on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and go to Global Peace Tribe, and that's where you'll see all of our programs. So Jim and Danny are colleagues, and just as I really honor Danny as one of the great voices, likewise, I really respect Jim. So it's a long video. I know that many of you may not be able to stay for the whole time, but I certainly do think that it's valuable for those of you who feel so inspired to watch. And for those of you that need to go to bed or log off, or this isn't your cup of tea, thank you for being with us tonight. I love each and every one of you, and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday night. I'll come on back on at the very, very end of this. And here we go with Jim Garrison of Humanity Rising.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison, and I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising. As we begin today, I want to start with just a note that I think most of you may already know, but it's worth just making sure that Stan Pockris has been ill in recent days. Shannon MacArthur has notified many of us. He was in the hospital with a bit of blood in his brain that didn't seem to be too serious. He's being released today. But I think it's very important for us as a community to note when one of our members endures mishap or misfortune. And so I want to just take a moment today and acknowledge all the work, the hard work and contribution that Stan has made and continues to make to keep Humanity Rising going, and all our sessions categorized and day by day, he and Shannon just support the after chat and make sure that everything that we're doing at Humanity Rising is recorded in a proper way, not only so that people can access it, but so people can be apprised of the diversity that we at Humanity Rising are making available to our global community. So Stan, wherever you are, we send love, we send blessings, we send strength, we send joy, we send healing, and all best wishes. I also want to note as we begin today that although we're in a format now of once a week, every Friday, for a world wrap-up with me, next week we're making an exception for a 5-day program, Monday through Friday, with Stephanie Mines. She has a program, as you may know, on regenerative health. She had prepared the program long before we transitioned to a 1-day-a-week program, and asked if we would give her special dispensation to have a 5-day program. So I'll be back on Monday to introduce the program, and so please just be aware that Stephanie will be here every day next Monday through Friday on Humanity Rising. And then beginning the following week, we'll go back to a once a week, every Friday commentary by myself or a dialogue with someone who we will announce the week before. So thank you, everyone, and welcome. Today, I want to make some remarks on the unfolding Trump administration and ponder the question of how we navigate through what is happening. There's a lot of confusion. There's major concern, not only in the United States, but around the world, as we bear witness to a presidency that is in many ways unprecedented in the annals of US history. And we are all advised to take note of what's happening. I want to start by setting context for the Trump presidency in the following way. And I want to draw from a recent article that Naomi Klein wrote for The Guardian newspaper in the UK. It came out a few days ago. She gave an interview on Democracy Now! On what she's calling end of times fascism. When I read it and heard her interview on Democracy Now!, I realized that she, as she always does, is providing an insight that we need to understand, because the Trump presidency is not unique, but it's part of a global trend toward end of times fascism. So I'd like to spend a few minutes to summarize what she has been saying and amplify it with my own observations, and then we'll deal with some of the specifics of what Trump is doing. Naomi Klein first draws a distinction between the fascism of the 1930s and the fascism of the 2020s. Oftentimes we say that Trump and the MAGA movement in the United States is very similar to the fascism that emerged in Germany in the 1920s and the 1930s. And we need to understand that there are very important distinctions in the kind of fascism that transpired then and the kind of fascism that is transpiring now. The Nazis were dealing with a very specific historical context. The Germans had lost the First World War. The reparations at the Treaty of Versailles in 1918, 1919 were draconian and put the German people under a reparations agreement that sapped their economy and their treasury and created massive discontent. And on top of that came the Great Depression, where millions, tens of millions of people, not only in the United States and Germany, but around Europe and around the world, were jobless, homeless, and destitute. That created the cauldron of grievance that was very carefully cultivated by Adolf Hitler and the Nazis. The promise was that the in-group, the Aryans, the Germans, needed to expel the outgroup, which included handicapped people, gypsies, Slavs, Jews, homosexuals, sexual deviants of all kinds, in the hope that once the German people had what they called Lebensraum, they had room for their greatness, the Nazis were going to usher in 1,000 years of peace and prosperity. The fascism that we're witnessing today is of a different order because there's a different context today. The world is not emerging from World War. The world is not afflicted by global depression. Instead, we have end of times fascism, which is a fascinating thing to contemplate as we seek to understand the presidency of Donald Trump. It's a fascism that is emerging out of an awareness that, as Naomi Klein puts it, we're in an age of consequence. We're in an age in which the world as we know it, the ecology as we know it, is collapsing all around us. The extraordinary characteristic of end of times fascism is that they know that this is happening. And they are both accelerating the destruction and thinking that they can build an ark at the same time. I want to underscore this mentality because this is fundamental to understanding what's occurring in the Trump administration with people like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Israel and the other countries where fascism is so dynamic and flourishing. They understand that collapse is inevitable. But rather than doing anything to prevent it, they are celebrating it, believing that they can build a bunker in the midst of this collapse for the in-group, while they expel the out-group. It's an extraordinary mentality. And if one listens to Steve Bannon, for example, Steve Bannon is arguably the public intellectual of the alt-right. An individual who has his training in Goldman Sachs in economics and finance, and has been the master strategist of the Trump presidency from before Trump became president. He's a master strategist of the MAGA movement. And if you look at his podcast, listen to his podcast, it's all about collapse. It's all about the fact that we're in a period where there's nothing that we can do to avoid collapse. So we have to hunker down. We have to ensure that, in Steve Bannon's case, the white people, the conservatives, are protected against the colored people, against the immigrants. So in that complex of inviting destruction so that you can ensure the supremacy of your group, the in-group, democracy becomes expendable. The notion that we're living together in a shared world becomes anathema. The reality that we have to engage in perpetual war against those that we're seeking to exclude becomes the mantra. So we're in a period of time in which the fascist elements are celebrating destruction, building a bunker for the in-group, negating the structures of democracy which are predicated on everyone having a vote, everyone sharing in the polity, everyone participating in some way in the civil discourse that builds the nation to take care of all the people. That's one reason why there's so much polarization. That's all breaking down. In its place is a vision of war to exclude to the last person those that they seek to expel. Naomi Klein further points out that there's not a unified, monolithic coalition, but rather a confluence of ideologies that are roughly similar and reinforce each other for different reasons. As an example, the dominant group in the United States that embraces this mentality are the Christian fundamentalists, the evangelicals. They believe that we are in the end of time, that Jesus is going to break through the clouds at any moment, and that the tribulations prophesied in the book of Revelation, and the book of Ezekiel, and the book of Daniel are in the process of being fulfilled. What that means is that the worse the situation gets, the more expectant they are for the great rapture, for Jesus to break through the clouds and to defeat the great hordes of the unbelievers and usher in the millennium of 1,000 years of peace. They're not motivated to do anything about the crises because for them, the crises are a sign of the times. My whole family is evangelical Christian. So I know firsthand this mentality. In Israel, you have a similar mentality. The Zionists. The Zionists, coming out of the anti-Semitism of Europe, moving into Palestine, came in with that same bunker mentality that the entire world is against us. So what we have to do is build a state of Israel and get rid of all those other people that aren't Jews. And so for the last 100 years, we've been watching genocide in slow motion as the Zionists inexorably subordinate, persecute, exclude the Palestinians that were there before they even showed up. The confluence between the evangelical Christians and the Zionists in Israel is that the evangelical Christians believe that there's a prophecy in the Bible that when the Jews returned to Palestine and set up the state of Israel, that was the beginning of the end of times. And they have this belief, as do the extremist Jews in the Netanyahu government, that the fulfillment which will trigger the rapture is when Israel expands itself to greater Israel, Eretz Israel, tears down the Al-Aqsa Mosque on the Temple Mount, and rebuilds the temple, the Jewish temple, which will be the third temple. And at that moment, Jesus will come and enter into the beautiful gate in Jerusalem and usher in the millennium. And that's why the evangelical Christians in the United States, historically anti-Semitic, are so ardent in their support of the Zionists in Israel because they're believing that this is the end of time. So the more carnage that one sees against the Palestinians, the more they rejoice, because the closer the rapture becomes. It's an extraordinary mentality. So when someone like Trump begins to emerge in the electoral process, there are forces already in play that support that mentality in a way that is based not on rationality, but on religious fervor. In Palestine right now, they've been without any external food, water, or humanitarian assistance since March 2nd, over 3 months. People are starving to death. The last restaurant in Gaza was bombed last night by the Israelis, killing over 100 people. They just blasted it. The last restaurant in Gaza was blown to smithereens. It's estimated by the UN that over 9,000 children are experiencing either starvation or severe malnutrition. Young children are dying day by day, and nobody basically says a word in the United States or in Europe. And in fact, most people don't even know it's happening. It doesn't even make the news. This is this mentality that the world is ending. We're in an apocalypse. We have to protect our group against the other group. So there's a celebration of destruction in the name of supremacy. The land is ours, not theirs. And in fact, as we saw from the Nazis, they were willing to go into self-destruction before they gave up their notion of supremacy. And that's a fundamental point that Naomi Klein makes about the contemporary fascism in our world, is that these people prefer the whole thing to be destroyed rather than to give up their sense of supremacy. So you have emerging in Silicon Valley, for example, what they call high-tech Zionism. We just saw it last week in Texas, where the location around the SpaceX launching site voted itself to be its own independent city. Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, other billionaires are talking about what they call freedom zones, where they will establish entities, survivalist, supremacist entities that exist outside of government, where they don't have to have any regulations. They can expel anybody that they want, and they can basically create a bunker to protect themselves as the rest of the world collapses. It's called Starbase in Texas. And there are plans to create more. And in fact, if you remember some of the speeches that Trump made during the recent election, he said that if he became president, he wanted to set up at least 10 freedom zones to enable this mentality to actually create its own governance, independent of the external world. It's an amazing, amazing thing that's taking place. What I would note about this is comments that Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg have recently made. In his recent interview on Joe Rogan's show, Elon Musk said that empathy is the greatest weakness of Western civilization. Mark Zuckerberg said that he was interested in cultivating a culture of aggression. I'd like us to think about that for a moment. The very basis of the golden rule, to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, is motivated by empathy. This capacity that we all have to simply empathize, to identify with the other, particularly in a time in which they suffer. So empathy is integral to compassion. Empathy is integral to love. Empathy is integral to forgiveness. Empathy is integral to community. So if you take out empathy and you begin to cultivate, as Facebook is, a culture of aggression, you get some measure of the mentality that is being fostered through social media in our world right now. Facebook, years ago, realized through its algorithms that if you generate extremism, if you generate hate, if you generate fear, more people will push that share button. And even though the genocide in Myanmar against the Rohingya was generated by Facebook, fostering extremism, Facebook has not stopped the algorithms because that's what generates business. I want to also say a word about AI. All of us are inundated now. AI this, GPT chat that, Alexis. You go on almost any platform now and it's AIs looking at you, wanting to help. And everybody's getting enthusiastic. Everybody wants to use AI. Almost nobody talks about the massive energy required to power AI in our world. I want everybody to pause here for a moment. Climate change is spinning out of control. Every single tipping point in our planetary ecology has been transgressed. We're now consistently above 1.5 degrees centigrade, above pre-industrial levels, which is the point at which climate scientists tell us that climate change, it becomes irreversible. And what are we doing? We're bringing AI online, which according to some estimates is going to increase our energy consumption by 2 or 3-fold as AI begins to take hold in our economies. What is this going to do to our world? It's not even mentioned, except on the margins. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what Naomi Klein is talking about when there's a celebration of destruction, a blithe, unconscious sleepwalking into the next commercial product without any thought of the fact that it's accelerating our doom. Because we're all excited about GPT chat and what we can do with it. So even though we're in the age of consequence, we live as if there are no consequences. And all we have to do in the end, like Israel's doing, is get out all those other people, even if it means perpetual war, so that we can protect the in-group, the chosen ones. In a world in which there's no more sense of a shared livability or a mutual tolerance or an empathy or compassion or love. And this brings us to Donald Trump. The context of Trump is end of times fascism. And once one kind of gets that, virtually everything that he's doing becomes explainable, understandable. Because that's the motivation of his administration. Many, if not most of whom are evangelical Christians, Christian nationalists, ardent supporters of the genocide in Israel. The ambassador of the United States to Israel, Huckabee, is an ardent Christian nationalist and Zionist. The Secretary of Defense, Hegseth, is an ardent evangelical Christian, Christian nationalist, and Zionist. So the worse the chaos gets, which we on the outside are looking at the chaos and feeling fear, for them, the chaos is the point. Because the more chaos, the sooner Jesus is coming back. The more Israel completely expels the Palestinians and tears down the Al-Aqsa Mosque and builds the third temple. That's the fulfillment of the eschaton. So the mentality of the Trump administration is a mentality of almost pure end of time fascism. Let's look at a couple of things that he's doing. The first and most obvious thing that he's doing is stripping the United States of its capacity to govern itself with competence. Virtually every department of the federal government is being stripped down, people being fired, even if it means like the air traffic controllers that protect our skies and ensure that all the airplanes take off and land safely. That's all being gutted. And then when accidents happen, like happened at a national airport near Washington, D.C., you blame it on the trans people. You blame it on DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. It's worth mentioning that in his big rally, marking his 100 days, Trump showed a video of the prisoners in the El Salvador mega prison, stripped down, shaved, handcuffed, completely subjected to coercive power. And the crowd cheered. So as you break down the institutions, you celebrate the destruction. Because what's important is not livability in a shared world. It's the preservation of your sense of supremacy. And that's why when Trump looks around the world and he understands that it's coming down, he thinks, I'm going to make sure we got Panama and the Panama Canal. I'm going to make sure that we've got Greenland. I'm going to make sure that we get Canada because we're going to hunker down. And the rest of the world can do whatever it wants to do, but we are going to hunker down in Fortress America. So we're building the tariffs. Even though the tariffs are destroying the economy and completely shattering the world's respect and trust in the United States politically and financially, what's more important to the Trump administration is Fortress America. And then while you're stripping down the government, he's also stripping down the welfare state. Any mechanisms that protect poor people, the vulnerable people, the elderly. So Medicare, Medicaid is being stripped down. Social Security is under threat and is being eviscerated. While the Elon Musk and the others in his cabinet celebrate, with Elon Musk showing up at the CPAC meeting some months ago holding a chainsaw. Empathy is dead in the mind of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. What counts is power. It's not about truth or falsehood. It's all about power, protecting the in-group against the outsiders. It's an extraordinary, extraordinary reality in which we find ourselves. The question is, how do we navigate through end of times fascism? Because we're not in Kansas anymore. We're no longer in a world where a vote actually matters in the way that it used to matter. Because democracy has become expendable. Because it serves no purpose in the bunker. There's increasing evidence that the Trump campaign, specifically Elon Musk, manipulated the vote in multiple states to ensure the election of Donald Trump. What this portends for the election in 2026 is hard to contemplate. So we all have to revise our notion of what we need to do, given the radically changing context in which we're living and trying to navigate. I'd like to suggest 3 aspects that are worth contemplating as we consider how we navigate through Trump land. The first important one, which Naomi Klein actually indicated in her interview with Democracy Now!, is that we need to continually cultivate our capacity to discern what the truth is, because that's fundamentally under attack. If you don't know what the truth is, you don't know how to make decisions. If you know that the truth is being manipulated on all the mainstream media, then you have to be very disciplined and very discerning about where you go for truth. There's an interior moral truth that we need to protect and defend. But there's also the question of, how do you understand what's happening in the outside world? So it's very important for all of us at this moment to be very clear that the BBCs and the CNNs and the MSNBCs and even the Fox Newses of the world are not where truth resides. You can see it most explicitly in something like Fox News, which is an instrument of this end of times fascism. You can see once you watch it how they're distorting your perceptions and generating fear and hatred and delusion. And it's important to note that most of the evangelical Christians watch Fox News. So there's this reinforcing mechanism of what you think is happening in the external world, which reinforces your ideological beliefs about the coming rapture. Hegseth was one of the broadcasters on Fox News. Right now, he's Secretary of Defense of the United States of America. It's a reinforcing loop, and our task is to get out of it and somehow fathom what's real. That's number one. And we hope that Humanity Rising contributes in our own small way to at least speaking the truth as long as we can. Knowing that we're in a world right now where I, as an American citizen, can be arrested just as quickly as an immigrant without due process and sent to El Salvador. It's a sobering thought. When it's not just the foreigners that are being arrested in the night, it's the citizens with contrary views. So knowing the truth as best we can is fundamental. That's what sets us free. And secondly, we need to hold hands. We need to build community. We need to share community, because it's only in community that we will be able to navigate through the thicket. So wherever you find community, in your families, in your local area, the community that we're building at Humanity Rising, the community that honors Stan Pakras, as we did today, is fundamentally important. Don't let the forces of chaos, which seek intentionally to atomize us and isolate us, win the day. Hannah Arendt, in her magnum opus on totalitarianism, written in the aftermath of the Second World War, said that the fundamental tool of totalitarianism is the isolation of the individual. So whatever you have to do to build community, to feel supported, along with the discerning of truth, is an imperative. And that leads to number 3. Empathy is not the greatest weakness in Western civilization, as Elon Musk says. Empathy is the foundation of our humanity and needs to be cultivated in a conscious way. And that's not so easy these days, because with all the chaos, all the centrifugal force that's splitting us asunder, we're all stressed. And when you're stressed, you become reactive. Just think of the road rage that we experience. When someone does something small, we react with this rage inside of us. That's by design. so that we have to become more and more conscious of the importance of cultivating our interiors so that the truth and the community enables us to practice empathy, to practice compassion, to practice love in every way that we possibly can. As it's said in George Orwell's 1984, when the protagonist, Winston, sought to love Julia in the midst of the totalitarianism, he realized at one point that simply being normal was a revolutionary act. We've come to that moment, folks. We're just remaining normal is emerging as a revolutionary act. Not succumbing to hatred, rage, greed, exclusion, which is being cultivated all around us. But abiding by the eternal verities that support life, that support our humanity. That support who we really want to be in the world. That's going to take increasing amounts of courage to just be normal. To maintain our empathy in our everyday life. And it may mean giving some money to homeless people. It may be taking a stand around the affirmation of the trans people who are now being assaulted in unprecedented ways. It may be speaking truth to power in your local area. But it's time now to realize that each one of us who identify with the light need to make sure that our lights are not dimmed and are not blown out. And we can ensure that by always discerning the deeper truth about what's happening. Holding hands with people of similar fortitude and commitment. And day by day, honoring the virtues. The most fundamental one of which is empathy, sympathy with the vulnerable and with the suffering of others. We may not win the day, but we may, because deeper than end of times fascism, deeper than Zionism, deeper than Christian nationalism, deeper than the evisceration of the civil institutions that undergird democracy. There is a spirit that guides the affairs of humankind, that directs the evolution of life, that is also bringing us face to face with other intelligences, not our own, which, if we embrace, will catalyze within us the strength that we need because our vision will remain clear. And the ability to maintain meaning will endure through the darkness that is emanating at this moment from the Oval Office of the White House of the United States, reinforced by other similarly dark forces in Jerusalem and in other places around our world. It's a sobering moment. Naomi Klein almost apologized for being stark, but I was so struck by her courage to speak the truth in an unvarnished way that it gave me courage today as we're moving beyond the first 100 days and are looking at 3 more years of this, to realize that sometimes it's the starkness of truth that empowers us to be as kind and loving as we need to be to preserve the truth in community. So thank you, everyone, for joining us here today on Humanity Rising. These are serious times, and this community is so important for us to honor. This is the kind of community that will see us through. And I want to just close by thanking all of you, remembering once again Stan, thanking Shannon, and we have a new individual, Kyle, who stepped in and says he's going to help Stan. And so Stan, if you're listening, we love you. Kyle, thank you for stepping in for Stan. We'll be back next week, and Stephanie will be with us for a 5-day program starting this next Monday. I hope you will all attend to contemplate how we regenerate our health in these times. So thank you, everyone. That'll do it for us for today. I'll join the after chat for a little bit. If you want to join, you'll see the Zoom the link in the after chat. You receive the Zoom reminder in
I'm going to stop it there. I've been monitoring a little bit of the chat, and I don't want us to pick at places where he may have exaggerated, taken things out of context, hyperbole. I think that that's there. One of the things that I often remind my clients is when we hear hyperbole, when we hear exaggeration, it's the pain talking. It's the desire to be heard and understood. And so I think the main themes are worth consideration. Whether, Musk's comment, and it's been pointed out to me that it was taken out of context, that he didn't just blanket say what he said about empathy. But I think we can all agree that we do want to live our lives in greater empathy. And that those who, I think what he said about those who prefer to live in a self-righteous idea of superiority, being closer to God, being God's chosen people, that's really dangerous. And a lot of people that hold a vision or a view like that, the wealthy, that are not humanitarian, those that are fanatical on any, whether it's a fanatical Christian or a fanatical Jew or a fanatical Muslim. Obviously, most Muslims are beautiful people. Obviously, most Christians are good people. Obviously, most Jews are beautiful people. But somehow, when the fanatical side comes into power, that's when really scary things take place, like we're seeing right now. So I do want to open it up to anybody who wants to express. And I'd just like to ask that maybe you keep it to your feelings, like what this has invoked within you in terms of your feelings and your values. And please, let's not attack anybody else, and let's certainly not attack anybody who's part of our Global Peace Tribe that has a different point of view or a different belief than yourself. So anybody who wants to speak, just raise your hand electronically. That puts you at kind of the top of what I have to see. And if nobody wants to speak, we'll close it out. Anybody want to? Sure. Okay, Grace Denise. Go ahead and unmute, Grace, since your camera's not on.
Hi, thank you. Put my camera on for just a second.
I
Came off. Okay.
turn
just
it back
wanna
on.
say-
Try turning it back on again, please.
Okay, just for a moment. Saying hi to everybody. Hi. So I really appreciate what he was saying. I've seen both sides on there talking about the good people in every single group, well-meaning, caring, the good religion and every faith in every group. Also, I met and talked to people who do hold some of these ideas. And I so appreciate his talking about them and in the context of climate change, or the context of, I really like that, the end of time. That's been my understanding. That's what's pushing all of this. And it's all fear-based. Like Marianne Williamson teaches in Course in Miracles, it's either fear or love. And all of this is fear. And so I feel that's a pathway that we can bring. There's hope in that, to speak to the fear and speak truth to the misperceptions of what is strength. That the people who are the weakest are the most bullying. Greed for power covers usually childhood trauma of weakness, helplessness, and greed for wealth covers trauma of lack, usually emotional lack of attention, of love, of attention, of recognition of one's inner life, where the child's life was just, for whatever reason, all the externals, whether there was wealth or lack of it, that there was the emphasis on things. All these things are maybe ways we can speak through this. But I'm glad he talked about Steve Bannon, and Steve Bannon made videos years ago. So that's what happened. And the people would be traumatized, and they would welcome the tyrannical leader, the dictator, the supreme ruler. He predicted this, and he is a major strategist with his Breitbart and everything. So I'm so glad and grateful he talked about that. And I feel we haven't talked enough about generosity, that along with empathy means caring for others as for ourselves, as Jesus says that we care about the world. How can we convey that in terms of power sharing, economic sharing? We've not been doing that for all our good values in this country. We've not been enough. There's been this, Jake Sullivan and others talk about a kind of dominance policy, sanctions and threat, promise and threat, reward and punishment, but shared mutual interest. Many people don't believe in that. He put that well, that there are people who don't believe that, who believe we are not a shared humanity, that we're incapable of being good to each other. We're incapable of caring, that we are by nature, our human nature is inherently selfish. But I think that's a complete mistake if we look at young children and see the impact of how they grow up and see their innocence and see the sincerity at the heart of everybody. We can counter that narrative of basic human evil, which is what I think underlies all of this, and really put forward basic human good, given the right support and empathy, encouragement. That's the greatest motivation. We definitely look for the greater good. There's some people see the greater good as evil. They're so disheartened about the positive path. They take something horrible, but they're still trying for the greater good in their own terms, in their own mind. And maybe we can speak to that, speak truth through that, because that's such a misunderstanding. All that we know about psychology and healing, all of us, all that we in the transformational community understand, if we can bring that into the world of politics and economics somehow, and shift that perception that the world functions on domination or the battle, that competition is everything. There's healthy competition, but we lose that in this commercial world where we think in terms of production and accumulation of goods and things as creating happiness, or we think of competition and forget that much greater happiness comes from mutual support, the joy of sharing, the joy of seeing up others. And that's what we can bring. So thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. And Katrina just wrote, yes, basic human goodness. And she reminds us that nonviolent communication is built originally on the work of Carl Rogers, who was one of Marshall's mentors, teaching unconditional positive regard for everyone. So thank you, Grace, for sharing. I agree and resonate with what you shared. Thank you. Roger, Bonnie. You need to unmute Roger. Still can't hear you. You have to unmute. Okay. No, you were unmuted for a moment and then you muted yourself again.
Okay. Now I'm good. It occurred to me that what he had to say was good and brought some points that I hadn't thought about. At the same time, I feel that he was creating more fear as well. There's a lot of things that he didn't say. Like the movies that I think some of us saw put forward by your friend in the Marin, what's her name? Grace.
Lori Grace.
Lori Grace, yeah, those films that were put forth. And I think that needed to be mentioned too, because what's the undercurrent? I don't want to mention, I put in the chat what it is. And if you want to go back and read the chat of what I put in there, it didn't mention what the undercurrent driving force is and who owns Trump and what's driving it. I have heard through several medium psychics and stuff, and I agree with them, that we are in the birthing canal of a new society, a new thing. And I think a lot of it, I agree with, is going to take a lot of empathy and courage and promoting what was said, nonviolent communication. Definitely has to be heavily promoted. So that we can, and I know that there's a majority of people out there that really see the light of what's happening and you know, and I'm going to continue. I'm gonna lower my hand since but that are really seeing what is happening and are coming up to resistance. And even the MAGA Republicans are now starting to see the light. So we'll see. We'll just have to promote compassion and empathy and nonviolent communication. Yeah.
Thank you, Roger. And
thing that Michael Sandler says about there are no sides on a round planet. If you understand that God loves everyone, even those that we may not like or love at all.
Yeah.
If we can just see everyone as part of God.
Yeah.
See them as God sees. Can we have empathy for Musk when he loses a son because he's hurting? At some point, I felt an empathy for him when he lost a son.
Absolutely.
I texted him about that and I said, I'm sorry for your loss. And his response was to offer me a car and money. And I said, I don't need your money. Just donate that towards somebody who really needs it, somebody who's homeless.
Next time, have him donate it to the Global Peace Tribe.
Yeah. To donate that to charity. So he offered to donate money toward his humanitarian foundation in my name. I said, no, I don't want my name attached to it.
Yeah.
Just donate it.
Well, that's very sweet of you, Bonnie. That's amazing that you were actually able to reach him.
But that's just feeling, I didn't say that to get anything from him. I just wanted to express an empathy toward him for hurting, for the loss of his son.
Yeah. Well,
No,
my question, it wasn't really him.
Well, whether it was him or not, my feeling is maybe that
I actually text David
would lead toward him and he would know.
and she got his phone and she said, hi, it's Denise. David doesn't check his phone much. Maybe we can get together soon. I
don't think he was meaning to talk to us. So Tim, I muted you because it sounds like you were talking to somebody else and interrupting us. If indeed you were trying to contribute to this conversation, raise your hand. Okay. Bonnie, thank you for that. You're right. It's a beautiful quote from Michael Sandler. There are no sides on a round planet. And yes, we have to love everyone. And I agree with you, Roger. I think that one could say that Jim's presentation adds to the fear. Kind of depends on how we work with it. You know, I mean, look, anything any of us say can be, there's another side to it. So anyway, I love you both very much. I'm gonna make Ayada our last person we hear from because it's been a long night. Ayada, I'm putting you on camera.
Hey, Scott and everybody. Thank you so much for showing this. It's just really it just felt so good for me. I was surprised and sorry to hear that some people felt it brought up fear for them. I really appreciate Jim Garrison as a person. I've seen some of the other things that he's done. And for me, I felt so reassured to hear somebody speaking truthfully and giving an accurate portrayal of what's going on in a way that was calm and caring. I felt that his perspective was very accurate. And I appreciated his compassion. The one emotion I did feel was a lot of sadness and grief. And I mean, I had tears coming out when he was talking about Gaza. And I know what's going on there. I know how bad it is. But when he was talking about the extremist religious aspects of that, the Israelis and the prophecies in the Bible. And also I happen to know personally a number of evangelical Christians who believe the same thing, and it just brought up this deep well of sorrow for me, that God, is this where we really are still at as a species, that we can have genocide going on because of religious fervor? And many years ago, the West was up in arms about all the Muslim militants and extremists and the murders and the killing that were happening. And here it's Christianity and Judaism, the West doing that. So I guess the last thing I want to say was that I've been following events pretty closely, and I do a lot of research to track down stories to try to get perspective on it. I don't just jump on and believe the first thing that I see. And I felt that Jim was giving a very accurate portrayal. And I know Danny Sheehan feels I don't know, I haven't heard him talk yet on all of these points, but I have been in some, small groups, been a part of some of Danny's small groups over the last few months, and he sees things very similar to how Jim sees it. So anyway, I just really profoundly appreciate that you shared this, and I really appreciate everybody who stayed this long, this late.
Yeah.
It is late, but the world is in a lot of pain right now, and it's really important to be discussing these things. And even if we got to stay up late, it's a small price to pay considering how much other people are suffering. So thank you, Scott, and
thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Is there a way to get the link for that recording? Is that out there?
Oh yeah, I'll put it in the chat box right now.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd love to watch it again.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's worth sharing with other people. Hang on, let me do it. I've got it right here. There we go. Okay. And while I'm putting things in the chat box, I'll also put in the link to any of you who missed what Danny shared on Monday night. It was a very powerful presentation about what's going on with UFOs, UAPs, government disclosure, and it's very, very powerful. So there's two important videos from two men that I really respect, and I appreciate everybody's opinion. A lot of you wrote in the chat box, and so thank you for your comments. Thank you, Katrina, for being with us tonight, both sharing about nonviolent communication and also your valuable comments in the chat box. And I wish us all a good night's rest. Let's pray. Let's practice compassion. Let's hold the highest vision, and then let's just small acts of kindness. Who do you know that's lonely? Who do you know that could use some support? As Jim said, who can you donate a little bit of money to or a little bit of time to? I think that's goes probably longer or further away than much of anything else. And thank you, everybody. Thank you, Omashar, for also being with us all the way through the evening. And I look forward to seeing all of you on Wednesday. Tomorrow's Sunday. Make it a sacred Sunday by seeing the divinity in all, including when you look in the mirror. Good night, everybody. Take care.